remembers that video where I reviewed a catfishing attempt from Wolfie and Where's Wally on the flat earther Taboo Conspiracy. Basically, they pretended to be a pilot of sorts, made up a load of waffle about the earth being flat, and Taboo Conspiracy just published it, no questions asked. Showing quite brilliantly, if a story or evidence fits a flat earther's worldview, they just believe it. Well, Taboo Conspiracy is famous for his flat earth facts, and today we're going to smash one to pieces. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a huge thank you to the sponsors of today's video, YouGov. YouGov is an internet-based market research company, and they conduct polls on a variety of different topics from pop culture to politics. Now, YouGov is a great little side hustle and life hack. It's free to join and so easy to use to gain a little bit of extra cash. Now, as a member, you'll earn points for giving your actual opinion that matters by completing a range of short surveys and polls. And it's so easy to do the surveys. Which of the following major appliance brands have you ever heard of? Please select all that apply. Worcester Bosch, Dyson, G-Tech, Indeset, Shark. And of these, Zanussi, Hoover, Glowworm, Electrolux, Russell Hobbs, British Gas, LG, Whirlpool. Over the past 2 weeks, which of the following major appliance brands have you heard something positive about? I saw an advert on an Indeset thing. It was like a head trim or something. And you can do these polls and surveys whenever you wish. For me, it's normally waiting in line for a coffee or waiting for a video to render. Now, I've used my extra cash from using YouGov to fund those little extra coffee shop trips, which is great because I can do a survey in line again. Tap my link in the description to start taking surveys and earn cash with YouGov. Right, back to today's video, which, as I said in the intro, is about Taboo Conspiracy. Now, he thinks that the moon and sun being roughly the same size proves the heliocentric model to be false. Interesting theory, but let's smash it to bits, shall we?
According to the heliocentric model, the Sun has a diameter of 865,370 miles, while the Moon has a diameter of 2,159 miles. With proper scaling, that would mean that if the Sun were 8 feet in diameter, then the Moon would have a mere diameter of 0.2 inches. In other words, the Sun would be the size of this 8-foot beach ball, and the Moon would be the size of a tiny airsoft BB. In fact, when compared to the Sun, the Moon would be approximately this small.
Sounds fine so far. I wonder how he's going to use this.
Yet, when you watch a solar eclipse, the Sun and Moon have the same apparent size.
Well, not entirely. Now, I've mentioned this before, but when the Sun is at its largest and the Moon its smallest, there is quite a difference. So much so that during an annular eclipse, you can quite clearly see this.
And you can see this nearly every day as the Sun and the Moon traverse the sky. Now, a globe proponent will claim that this same apparent size of the Sun and Moon is entirely a coincidence.
Well, it is, yes, but not a miraculous coincidence. Because they're very, 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 very rarely the exact same size. And look at the difference here when the Moon is at its largest and the Sun its smallest. These differences are, of course, because the orbits of Earth and the Moon are elliptical.
Think of the nearly impossible odds that the Sun and the Moon are the same apparent size based on a random explosion of the universe. Then think of the impossible odds that it just so happens that we are randomly here to witness the same. Those odds alone should cause any thinking, reasonable, and objective person to question the veracity of the ridiculous heliocentric model.
The odds of you being born, Taboo Conspiracy, of you being you, are around 1 in 400 trillion. Yet here you are, claiming that the Earth is flat because you don't know much about the Sun or the Moon. Small odds don't mean impossible, buddy.
Weigh the evidence. The same-sized Sun and Moon proof alone debunks the heliocentric model.
Apart from the fact that it doesn't, because they're not exactly the same size.
And it is so simple to understand, and yet this proof is so overlooked. What do you think is more likely? that these two lights in the sky just happen to be the same apparent size based solely on a random explosion, or that you're mentally incapable of letting go of your heliocentric faith due to your indoctrination.
Let's try this another way round. What do you think is more likely? That the sun and the moon formed as they did, but just so happened to be roughly the same size when viewed from this planet? Or a supernatural creator made them both, but didn't make them the exact same size? Now, sometimes the sun is bigger and sometimes the moon appears bigger, which means this creator messed up.
What I also find interesting is that the heliocentric model seems to have a myriad of these unbelievable coincidences and claims. When you really look at it, ridiculous and unfounded explanations form the foundation of the heliocentric model defense. For example, globe propagandists claim that this laser that was 21 miles away from me wrapped around the curvature of the Earth in an arc just to present a flat Earth to me. At that distance and viewer height, 223 feet should have been hidden behind the curvature of the Earth.
Says a lot that you didn't use a curve calculator that takes refraction into account. Which is a thing, refraction, you can't deny that. I bet you if we had the exact numbers, it would be entirely possible to see that laser.
For some unbelievable reason, the laser and the image of the opposing shore all wrapped around the curvature in a perfect arc, evenly and without visible effect, but the giant Earth bulge escaped and did not get wrapped around the curvature, but simply disappeared, all due to some magical and selective refraction properties.
I think it's hilarious that these flat earthers think an Earth bulge is supposed to be like a camel hump or something.
Reason and logic have nothing to do with the globe faithful. As another example, the globe propagandist claims that the real horizon, which you cannot see, is actually in front of these two oil platforms. With an observation height of 1 foot, under the globe model, the horizon, as a geometric edge of the globe, would have to be closer than 1.2 miles. Just by coincidence, the physical Earth bulge that was supposed to be 5 miles in front of the first platform disappeared and shockingly relocated miles beyond the second platform that was 9.4 miles away.
And look at the absolute state of the refraction going on there. You can see the crane arm on the left, just look at it. Totally bent out of shape with refraction. Now, let's look at these two platforms when the conditions allow less refraction. Oh, funny you didn't show that one, Taboo.
And this giant Earth bulge coincidentally disappeared without affecting the two oil platforms that the bulge was supposed to be blocking. Ridiculous.
Yet here is the camel hump in all its glory for you to see.
It's the same with these wind generators with an observation height of 3.5 feet under the globe model. The physical horizon edge would have to be closer than 2.3 miles. And yet you can see the apparent horizon miles beyond the furthest platform, which was 11.2 miles away.
The key word is apparent. Every horizon you look at is apparent because of the fact that we have an atmosphere. You cannot neglect what effect that has on visibility. But anyway, I thought this video was supposed to be on the sun and the moon being roughly the same size.
The bulge of the Earth that was supposed to be at least 6 miles in front of the first generator just disappeared again without affecting all the platforms that are supposed to be hidden by the bulge in increasing amounts. In addition, even though the heliocentric model says that the Earth is rotating at the equator at approximately 1,000 miles per hour,
even though we don't measure rotation with linear speed, but please continue,
they claim that the little air as high as 128,000 feet above the Earth is actually rotating faster than the 1,000 mile per hour ground below, and is mysteriously attached to the Earth like spokes on a bicycle wheel, even though the spinning ground could never effectively communicate its motion to the air above it, and so forth.
Taboo Conspiracy must have been asleep in physics class then, because the Earth does drag the atmosphere. You know, friction and all that.
The air should not spin at 128,000 feet, let alone travel faster than the 1,000 mile per hour ground below it. It's just shocking to me that they have gotten away with this stupidity for so long.
And it's shocking to me that your research is always wrong.
But let's get back to our solar eclipse.
Finally!
In addition to showing us the absurdity of the huge difference of the claimed sizes of the sun and moon, a solar eclipse also demonstrates another stupid claim of the heliocentric model, that the shadow you're seeing here was actually cast by a moon with a diameter of 2,159 miles. On a map, the width of the eclipse shadow of 2017 was represented like this. But the shadow of the moon, with a diameter of 2,159 miles, should have looked more like this. They want you to believe that the shadow from the moon comes to a small point, and yet no one can seem to reproduce this effect.
Au contraire, my little Mr. Conspiracy, I think you'll find that they have. Beautifully presented with an umbra and penumbra, as in reality. Well, there we go. What a damning end that was for Taboo Conspiracy. And you'll be delighted to hear that we are all done and dusted for another Flat Earth Friday demolition job. Thank you so much for watching today. Truly appreciated as always. If you enjoyed this particular episode, please don't be afraid to hit that thumbs up button. And of course, subscribe too. We're around 10,000 away now from that magic 500,000. Just enough time to once again thank YouGov for sponsoring today's video. Remember to start taking short surveys and earn some extra cash with YouGov. Click that link in the description. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday for some stuff about numerology. Should be interesting. And nonsense, of course. See you then.